In this video, I'm going to run quickly through the different theme settings in Apex and also explain the content setting hierarchy in Apex. So for starters, let's just go to Appearance and Theme Settings. We got four main tabs: General Settings, Content Settings, which affect each single page's kind of display. Typography settings, if you want to override any of the fonts used throughout the theme or the different typography, you can do this. Just be sure to click this checkbox if you actually want to enable it. Because you can set these settings all you want, but if this checkbox is not checked, it will not activate on the front end. So that's the typography settings. Import, export, mainly used just to import sample settings, or you can, export your settings and save it for later if you want to move sites or export widget data. So the main two tabs are the general settings and content settings. With the general settings, you can upload your own logo, favicon, set your archive navigation to use pagination or just the previous next buttons, set your copyright text here, error page content, add custom styles that override theme styles. If you add it in the additional CSS field, you don't have to worry about anything getting overwritten with theme updates. Additional JavaScript, you can add like Google tracking codes if you wish to your site. The next section is the style settings. You can choose one of the 6 color schemes, which is basically just the highlight colors shown throughout the site if you wish to choose one of the preset ones, or else you can also set a custom color just by using this color picker. Also in this setting section, you can style the main navigation, which is the top bar with the main menu items in it, and the footer style. Anytime you see this light and dark option for an element style, that basically just sets the contents of that element to either have a light background with dark text or a darker background with light text. So it's a quick and easy way to swap out colors depending on what you want your page or content to look like. And then you can also override the highlight colors for the navigation or the footer. The next section is the social links that show in the footer. Just click icons to add new ones, add your links in. If you want to delete them, just click the icon again. That removes them from the list. You can also drag and reposition the order of them. The next section is the widget areas. If you imported the theme settings, there are 3 that show up by default and are used with the sample content. If you want to add more customization to your pages, or to have a single page with a different content in the sidebar, you can create new widget areas to add widgets to. And the next section is the content settings sections, and all of these checkboxes affect what we see in this tab. Without any of them selected, you only see default. If you enable the global content sections, say for posts, pages, and galleries, so these are all post types, and it'll affect every single post within that post type. You can also activate it for blog, which would be the front page if you choose to show your latest posts on the front page. Also taxonomy, archives, year archives, the search page, and error page. So this is how you could enable those to set custom settings. And then these checkboxes will enable settings on individual posts. So to start with, we'll leave everything empty and just view the default settings. So for each one of these settings, you'll have a layout section. You choose your sidebar position, content width, and attributes for your sidebar, which would be the width and then also how it positions on mobile devices. The elements section, you can set whether to auto hide the main navigation. You can add animations for page headers and page content to fade in, or do other things, bounce in, and along with the delay as content scrolls into the screen, that's when they would fade in. The page top, you select whether to show just a basic header, which would be page title, page tagline, optionally with a background image. This is what shows on individual posts if you view the preview site. Otherwise, you can select a hero element, which is what you see on the home page on the preview site, or none. You just wouldn't have a header or hero element. You can override titles for pages, override taglines. By default, a title will just be the actual page title. By default, a tagline will be your site's tagline that you set in the general settings, or right here. So you can also optionally hide titles and taglines so they don't display at all on your site. The extra content settings, I'll explain this more in a different section, but this basically allows you to add different pages and posts below your current page, which is how the home page on the preview site is set up. That's how you create a one-page theme. Also on the preview site, every single page has the contact page added at the bottom. So this is why the contact page menu item is selected here. The widget area, you can select which widget area is set up by default to show in the sidebar. The next section are the content styles, which the content styles is the main content of any page. So you can choose either a light or dark scheme. Depending on how you want it to show up, you can choose a highlight color to override the theme colors if you want a custom highlight color for that specific, for just the content. You can add a background color to the content, add a background image, set the parallax amount. You can set a background overlay along with the opacity, how much it shows up over the background. So you can create pretty unique backgrounds and looks for each content section. And then the next setting down here are the header styles. So you got header styles and hero styles, and these basically are the same settings as the content styles. You have the option to show it as light or dark with the highlight color in the background, but this sets the styles for page headers if you're displaying page headers on your pages. Same goes for the hero settings. If you're displaying a hero element on your pages, this is where you would set the settings for that. It has all the same settings as the header styles and the content styles, with a few additional ones. You can add a logo to the hero element, like on the home page. This is where you would select the menu showing in the hero element. You set your rotators, the text rotator and background rotator if you want to add them. Again, the light and dark style, highlight color, and background options. If you do add a background image, you can have a static background image with just a text rotator if you want, but you need to make sure you have no rotator selected for the background. So these are the settings for content. Now if you just have default selected, this will be the settings for every single page on your site. If you go back to general settings and activate, say, posts and pages and save, and go back to the content settings, you'll see that we have two new submenus. So what this does, it allows you to create default settings for all posts or default settings for all pages. So if you want to have most of your sites set up default a certain way, but you like to have your posts display in a different way, enable this post setting, and you can, switch the titles. You can switch the highlight color for just posts. So that's the hierarchy for global settings. And if you want, you can add all these different things to have different settings for all the different post types and the taxonomy archives, the search page, the error page, if you want. But for now, I will just leave pages and posts selected. Now, in addition to setting global styles for post or page, you can enable single post sections. So for pages, if you imported the theme settings, we have pages enabled. So I'll show you this. If you go into a page, like the home page, within the Apex page settings, you'll see basically all the same settings you have in the global settings. What this allows you to do is take each individual post and set a different style to it if you want. For many of the individual page settings, if you do not touch it, it'll automatically use the default settings. Or here there's options to say use the default setting for this page, or optionally, since this is the home page, I want to show the hero element, whereas our default setting is to show the header element. So there's quite a few different settings to use, but it allows great flexibility in how you want to set up your site. Just remember that there's a hierarchy to your content settings. You have global settings, which would be each one of these pages. Okay? And then if you have enabled single page settings, then you can use the Apex page settings meta box to set individual settings on individual posts. And anything that isn't set in here will default back to the global settings. So hopefully that gets you in the right direction and makes it a little bit easier for you. I know once you figure it out, you'll enjoy the flexibility that it offers. All right, thank you.